Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. The Los Angeles Dodgers are once again stirring the pot, making moves that balance hope, familiarity, and tough decisions. On Friday, the team announced they had claimed right-handed pitcher Nick Nastrini off waivers from the Miami Marlins. In a corresponding move, pitcher Noah Davis was designated for assignment, bringing a brief and bumpy stint in LA to an abrupt close. It's the kind of shuffle that might fly under the radar for casual fans but speaks volumes about where the Dodgers are mentally as the second half of the season heats up. They're not just focused on winning today, they're keeping an eye on the long game too. And in that long game, Nick Nastrini could represent more than just a name on the roster. For fans who follow the pipeline, his return marks a full circle moment. Drafted by the Dodgers, developed in their system, and later traded away in a win-now deal, Nastrini is back where it all started. Meanwhile, Noah Davis, who had only recently been picked up in a quiet cash deal with Boston, now finds himself on the outside looking in. This move might seem minor on paper, but there's a bigger story about depth, potential, and second chances. Noah Davis came to the Dodgers with a flicker of hope, not just for himself, but perhaps as an under-the-radar piece who could plug innings and stabilize a bullpen in need of reliable arms. Acquired from the Red Sox on opening day at Dodger Stadium, Davis was viewed as a safety net, a depth piece, maybe even a quiet reclamation project. He'd pitched in the big leagues across parts of 3 seasons, showing flashes of potential. Amid inconsistent performances in 2023, he logged a career-high 30 innings with the Colorado Rockies, mostly as a starter. While his numbers never screamed elite, his career era hovered above 7. He was serviceable in spurts, someone who could soak up innings and give you a chance to win on the right night. Unfortunately, his time in Dodger blue never quite found that sweet spot. His stats in LA painted a rough picture: 5 appearances, a bloated 19.50 ERA, an AWHIP of 2.50. And then came the Houston game, a 10-run 6th-inning disaster. That likely sealed his fate. It wasn't just a bad night. It was a historic meltdown, the most runs allowed by a Dodger team in one inning since 1999. Davis became the odd man out, a cautionary tale in baseball's revolving door. The cruel irony of baseball is that the very team that gives you a shot might also be the one to end your run. For Noah Davis, it was fitting and perhaps a little tragic that his MLB debut came against the Dodgers. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, including a home run. Fast forward to 2023, and Davis found himself facing LA again, this time surrendering 4 runs across 4.1 innings at Coors Field. The Dodgers were the opponent when he arrived on the scene, and now they're the ones showing him the exit. It's the kind of symmetry that only sports can script, but in truth, Davis' path was always uphill between the numbers and the optics. It was tough to justify keeping him on the 40-man roster, especially when you factor in the depth already present in AAA Oklahoma City. He wasn't just being outperformed, he was being outlasted. With the Dodgers in constant pursuit of championship-caliber pitching, Davis' struggles couldn't be hidden for long. And while he posted modest numbers in AAA to 2-0 record, with a 4.3 for ERA, it wasn't enough to outweigh the damage done at the major league level. Sometimes, the timing just isn't right. The Dodgers' decision to bring back Nick Nastrini, on the other hand, is far more than a waiver claim. It's a story of redemption, potential, and unfinished business. Drafted in the 4th round of the 2021 MLB draft out of UCLA, Nastrini was viewed as a high-ceiling arm with electric stuff, even if control remained a concern. He signed for $500,000, notably above slot value, signaling the organization's belief in his upside. And for a while, it looked like that belief was well placed. He rose through the system with buzz, showcasing his strikeout abilities and occasionally dominant outings in the minors. But in 2023, as the Dodgers pushed for postseason reinforcements, Nastrini became expendable package in a deal with Trace Thompson and Jordan Leisure to the Chicago White Sox in exchange for veterans Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn. It was a classic contender move, sell future promise for present help. Nastrini's departure stunned a bit for fans who had bought into the idea of homegrown pitching depth. And yet, here we are in 2025, with the right-hander making a surprise return to the organization that drafted him. Sometimes baseball finds a way of bringing you back to where you belong, but Nastrini's road back to LA wasn't smooth sailing. After joining the White Sox, he finally made his MLB debut in 2024. Unfortunately, it wasn't the storybook moment fans or front offices had hoped for. He struggled mightily, going 0-7 with a 7.07 ERA and a 1.91 WHIP over 9 games, 8 of which were starts. The raw talent was still visible, but the results simply didn't follow. Walks piled up. Big innings haunted him, and while some pitchers take time to adjust to the show, Chicago didn't have the patience or the room on the roster to wait it out. The Marlins claimed him off waivers on July 1st, offering what appeared to be a fresh start. Yet, even in Miami, Nostrini's journey hit a wall quickly, just over a week after joining the club. He was designated for assignment to make room for another waiver claim, Tyler Zuber, a reliever claim from the Mets. Once again, Nostrini found himself in limbo, caught in the numbers game that defines modern baseball rosters. But then came the Dodgers, swooping in with a claim that felt both pragmatic and poetic. They weren't just acquiring an arm, they were welcoming back a familiar face with unfinished business. The return of Nick Nastrini comes at a time when the Dodgers could use every ounce of depth they can muster. Injuries, inconsistent performances, and the grind of a 162-game season have left the pitching staff in a constant state of flux. While names like Tyler Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto lead the rotation when healthy, there's an ongoing need for options, particularly arms with upside that can be tapped into quickly. Nastrini isn't expected to come in and dominate from day one, but what he offers is a blend of familiarity and potential that few waiver claims ever bring. He knows the organization, the staff knows him, and that relationship matters, whether he begins at AAA Oklahoma City or finds himself thrown into the bullpen mix at Chavez Ravine remains to be seen. But the Dodgers have proven time and again that they can take raw talent and refine it. If Nastrini can harness his control and sharpen his pitch sequencing, he might just find himself pitching meaningful innings sooner than expected. His return isn't just about plugging a hole, it's about reigniting the spark that once made him a top 15 prospect in the Dodgers farm system. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. There's also a broader message in the Dodgers' recent moves, a philosophy that values familiarity, upside, and second chances. We've seen it before with players like Trace Thompson, Kike Hernandez, and even Joe Kelly. The front office has never shied away from bringing back guys who've previously worn Dodger blue. It's not just sentimentality, it's about culture. When a player returns, they're not starting from scratch. They understand the expectations, the pressure, and the system. Nastrini's return fits that mold perfectly. He's a known quantity with room to grow. And unlike Davis, whose role was more stopgap than strategy, Nastrini represents a potential building block. That's not to say the Dodgers are handing him the keys to the rotation tomorrow, but they're betting that the familiarity and development infrastructure can help him find the form that made him so promising in the first place. For fans, it's a fun narrative, a homegrown pitcher coming back for another shot. For the front office, it's a low-risk, high-reward move in a season where every arm counts. The question now is simple: can Nastrini rise to the occasion? Or will this second act mirror the struggles of his first? Noah Davis' departure might not generate the same headlines as a blockbuster trade, but it underscores the unforgiving nature of baseball at the highest level. One bad outing or in his case, several can quickly outweigh months of decent work. Davis had his moments, but in the end, the Dodgers' standards are sky high. It's a franchise built on results, and his couldn't justify the roster spot. The brutal 10-run inning against Houston will likely be the lasting image for many, but it would be unfair to reduce his tenure solely to that. He battled, he tried, and he likely learned plenty. Whether he catches on with another team remains to be seen, but he'll need to rebuild from the bottom. Perhaps another minor league contract, another spring invite, another chance. For every player like Nastrini who gets a return ticket home, there are countless like Davis trying to keep the dream alive somewhere else. Baseball moves fast. If you blink, you're out of a job. Davis' journey may not be over, but it's paused. And in the harsh reality of the big leagues, that pause can stretch indefinitely without results to back you up. The Dodgers simply moved on. If you're looking for a deeper takeaway here, it's the Dodgers' ability to keep playing chess while others play checkers. They didn't need to reclaim Nick Nastrini. They could have let him pass through waivers unclaimed, especially after his rough patch in the majors. But they saw something of familiarity, a tool set, a blueprint that they believe they can fix. And they weren't afraid to make the tough call on Davis to clear the spot. It's what smart franchises do. They evaluate, they cut, they reclaim. Nastrini won't be asked to save the season, but if he turns into a capable long man, spot starter, or even a back-end option with upside, the move pays off in spades. And if not, well, he costs nothing but a roster spot and the hope that development isn't linear. That sometimes the second act is better than the first, for fans watching the standings. This move might seem irrelevant, but for those who follow the 40-man roster like a hawk, it's another sign that Andrew Friedman and his team are always thinking the steps ahead. Sometimes, baseball is about more than numbers. It's about recognizing when to open the door again for a guy you once believed in. As the season barrels toward its critical stages, the Dodgers remain committed to finding answers wherever they can, whether that's in a trade deadline splash or a sneaky waiver claim. The message is the same: no stone will be left unturned. The addition of Nick Nastrini is symbolic of that ethos. He's not the shiniest name, he's not even guaranteed to stick, but in a year filled with questions about depth, health, and rotation stability, every little move matters. And if Nastrini figures it out in OKC or impresses during a bullpen stint, the Dodgers might once again find gold in a place few thought to look. On the flip side, the departure of Noah Davis reminds us how little room there is for error. This team is playing for championships. There are no participation trophies. Davis had his shot, and now it's Nastrini's turn to make the most of a new chapter. Baseball, after all, is a game of opportunities, some earned, some gifted, and some revived. The Dodgers, as always, are betting on their system, their instincts, and their ability to develop talent. And for Nick Nastrini, the story isn't over. In fact, it might just be getting started. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.